called Ahetuka Daya Sindhu. Kind and compassionate without any rhyme or reason. My translation it is. Otherwise, a Sharif translation is, without any badmashi in it, a Sharif translation of Ahetuka Daya Sindhu means ocean of compassion without any expectation. A little badmashi add to it, that means the one who becomes compassionate without any rhyme or reason. So Bhagavan becomes Ahetuka Daya Sindhu once in a while. See the rain? He is Ahetuka Daya Sindhu. Suddenly becomes kind. Hari Om. The topic is very what is happening? The topic is something is hello. The topic is very seriously. The topic is very serious topic, very serious analysis. Even though the example is very simple, called pot, clay ball, clay pot, etc. But what the nishkarsh, meaning the clarity that we get out of this example or the conclusions that we make out of this example are going to be extended to the universe and the source. In that way it is very serious. Sadrishyat anvaya darshanam na karananuvritteriti chenna. Up to that. The Shunyavadi says, you feel the continuity, and continuity is always expressed like this. It's the same. That's called. It is the same. Vahi yah hai. In Sanskrit it is called tadetat. Tat etat. Tat means vaha. Etat means this. Vahi hai. Vahi cheez hai. The clay that I saw before even I made the clay ball, the same clay is there in the ball and the same clay is there in the pot. And the same clay is there even after the pot is dissolved. This is what is called the sense of something being the same. That is called tadetat buddhi. The Sanskrit is very beautiful if it is followed a little. Tad etat buddhi. Tad etat buddhi. The sense that it is the same. वही है. जो मैं देख रहा हूं ये वही है. जिनको मैंने कल देखा था वही है आज फिर देख रहा हूं. This is what is called tad etat buddhi. This tadetat buddhi is called the sense of sameness. Is the same. This is what is called the continuity. How else can you express continuity? It's the same. The I who dreamt alone is awake now. The I who was asleep alone is awake now. So there is a tadetat buddhi is otherwise called pratyabhijna. This pratyabhijna is what establishes continuity, eternity, and the negation of pratyabhijna establishes discontinuity. In fact, that is also a pratyabhijna. वो यहाँ नहीं है. ये भी pratyabhijna है जी. वो यह नहीं है. कल एक व्यक्ति को yesterday I saw somebody. Today I am seeing someone who looks like him but he is not the same. It is a pratyabhijna that establishes the difference. And there is also pratyabhijna that establishes sameness. All analysis, the entire Vedanta, the entire unfoldment of Vedanta just zeroes on this pratyabhijna. Minus that pratyabhijna, you can't analyze. You can't determine the nature of the truth. You can't know the truth without this pratyabhijna. In ignorance, eternity looks like pratyabhijna. In the case of the objects, continuity looks like pratyabhijna. In the case of the Atma, eternity looks like pratyabhijna. Thus, through pratyabhijna, you determine continuity of a thing. Through pratyabhijna, you determine the eternity of the self. Minus the pratyabhijna, how do you analyze it? How does one, minus the pratyabhijna, it would be shunyam. Yes. Even though the Shunyavadi says there is no sense of sameness, there is a sense of similarity. Even for similarity you require pratyabhijna. I am saying, as a teacher of Vedanta, I can say, by accepting pratyabhijna, you are dismissing Shunyavada. The Shunyavadi may say that when you say the same clay, the clay that I saw before the pot was born, the same clay is there all over the pot. Therefore, the source of the pot is not replaced by the pot because it is still there. The Shunyavadi may say this sense of sameness is not true, it is the sense of similarity. The clay in the pot looks like the clay before the pot was born. Shunyavadi wants to prove that the objects are never the same, they are only similar. The object last second is similar to the object at the present second. And every second it is a new object. And the sense of similarity creates an illusion of sense of sameness. This is what he wants to say. ठीक है जी? One answer is that it is never, if it were, the sense of similarity. And then it should look like sense of similarity. Why should it look like sense of sameness? Why should it automatically look like sense of similarity? It is looking like, why should it not look a sense of similarity? It is actually looking a sense of sameness. Universally, everybody thinks it is the same thing, sense of similarity. In fact, there is no sense of similarity, it is a sense of sameness. This is one answer. Try to follow. We don't carry the sense of similarity about the objects. We carry the sense of sameness. There is no question about it. It is a bluff to say the table last second and the table at this second is similar to the table last second. ऐसा नहीं, it is the same. वही है. Now my question is, The fundamental answer is, if we are accepting something called pratyabhijna, because even for sense of similarity you have to have pratyabhijna. If you accept pratyabhijna, then you have to accept continuity. If you accept continuity, then your school of momentariness is gone. It is not the what kind of pratyabhijna that you accept that matters to me. That you accept pratyabhijna. Because the sense of sameness requires pratyabhijna. The sense of similarity also requires pratyabhijna. I should be able to remember the previous one. Today I see Ram, yesterday I saw Lakshman, or yesterday I saw Ram, today I see Lakshman, and Lakshman looks like Ram. Even to say, even to feel that Lakshman is like Ram, I should remember Ram. That is continuity. Memory has continuity. And the one who saw Ram existing even today, he is the same. The one who remembers is the same. Therefore, the karta, the rememberer, has continuity. The one who saw Ram continues to be there even when he remembers him. Therefore, the subject, the momentariness of the subject cannot be established. What we are saying is, not only the momentariness of the subject cannot be established, even the momentariness of an object cannot be established. Why? Because even the objects are not momentary. Objects have continuity. Continuity is an error in eternity. Until they are disproved, they are there. Until the universe is traced to its source, it is there. The error about the eternal cannot be another eternal. The error about the eternal has to look like the eternal, but in the form of continuity in time. And therefore, these are all implications. Very beautiful analysis he is doing, Bhashyakara. And now let us do the next sentence. He says, Sadrishyat Anvaya Darshanam na Karananuvritteriti che na. Siddhanti says, hey Shunyavadi, if you were to argue that you have the sense of continuity about the source of the pot, you think that the source of the pot has continuity, it is only your illusion, but actually what you are registering is only a sense of similarity. You are only experiencing a new clay which is similar to old clay, not the same clay. Why is Shunyavadi so against the sense of sameness? Because if everything looks the same, then his Kshanikavada goes. Momentary. Now see, Pindadigatanam, Mridadi Avayavanam. The particles of clay that pervade the clay ball. Pindadi gatanam mridadi avayamanam. The clay particles that exist in the clay ball as pervading the clay ball, eva alone, ghatadau, in the pot also, in the finished product called the pot also, pratyakshatve, when they are perceived, when they are evident to be there. The particles of clay that are there in the clay ball, the same particles are also there in the pot. When the same is seen, Why do you have to infer that it is similar? Inference is possible. Inference is required when perception is not possible. When I don't see the fire, I only see the smoke, then I need to infer there must be fire. But supposing I see the smoke and I also see the fire there, I don't have to infer the fire. Where it is directly perceived, where a reality is directly perceived, there you don't have to infer it. In Mula Vidya Nirasa, there was an example. मुझे तो वो बार बार को याद आती हैं. I really it entertains me. At Mula Vidya, he says, you are eating food and you are seeing eating food yourself, you see. So this logician, he says, Bhaiya, are you eating food? I ask a question to the logician. He says, I am not in office, I am not doing anything, therefore I must be eating food. I am not working in office, I am not walking in the garden, I am not doing any work, therefore I must be eating food. Why do you have to infer? Why do you have to infer when you are seeing yourself eating? Very important, Ji. Very important. Where the perception does the job, don't look for inference. Where the perception doesn't do the required job, then based on perception, follow the data and go for inference. I am seeing directly the clay particles in the clay ball. I am seeing the clay particles, the same clay particles in the pot also. If I color the clay, that colored particles I see them in the clay ball, and the same colored particles I see them in the pot. When they are directly perceived to be continuous, when the clay is directly perceived to have continuity, why do you have to infer that they are similar? When it is clearly seen as the same, when the clay is seen as the same, why do you have to make an inference that it is similar? This is one thing. Now what is the nishkarsh? What is the synopsis? That means the pot never replaces the source. Pot has a beginning and an end, but the clay has continuity. Bas itna hi hai. Pot has a beginning and an end, clay has continuity. And that the pot has a beginning and an end is a perception, is one's knowledge, let me call it, is one's knowledge, and the continuity of the clay also is one's knowledge. The moment you say similarity, then it becomes non-continuous. Before the pot was born, whatever clay was there, the same clay is there during the pot, the same clay is there after the pot is gone. It is the same. The knowledge is that it is the same. The knowledge is not that it is similar. And therefore, just as the pot begins and ends and it does not replace, it doesn't destroy the source, similarly the universe doesn't destroy the source. The universe can take place in the source without destroying it. Shunyavadi, according to Shunyavadi, just as the pot when it is made destroys the clay ball, similarly it destroys the source. He thinks the creation destroys the source. Therefore now there is a creation According to Shunyavadi, even going by Veda, which says it is a creation in Ishvara, Shunyavadi says the creation must have destroyed the source, Ishvara. All that is there is only creation minus the source, that is called Shunyam. The universe dangling in emptiness. Emptiness. Therefore here Siddhanti says, Pindadigatanam Mridadi Avayavanam eva Ghatadau Pratyakshatve. When the sameness of the clay is directly perceived, Anumana Abhasat, by wrong inference. One is Anumana. Anumana means inference. Anumana Abhasa means a semblance of that which has the semblance of logic. Means an illusion of logic. It's called Abhasa. Looks like a tree, but it is a plastic thing. So what is it? Is it Vriksha or Vriksha Abhasa? Vriksha Abhasa. Abhasa means an illusion, appearance. It looks so, but it is not so. That is called Abhasa. When the sameness of the clay, when the continuity of the clay is directly perceived, where is the need to resort to inference? And whenever you resort to inference when it is not required, you will make a wrong inference. ये तो पक्की बात है जी. Whenever you do something when it is not required, you will do it wrongly. जो जरूरत नहीं है अगर उसको करने लगे अब तो गलत कर ही लेंगे. You are not feeling hungry, still you want to eat. You don't need it, but then you will still want to eat it at that time. You don't need to eat, but still you want to eat. What will you eat? All junk. Haji. When you don't need to eat, but you want to eat, then what will you eat? Junk. Yes, it's a pakka. When you don't need inference, you go for it, you will make a wrong inference. And that is why Anumana Abhasat Sadrishyadi Kalpana, imagining that there is not the sense of sameness but the sense of similarity. Anupapattehe, it is untenable, it is unfair. It is wrong, my dear Shunyavadi, to imagine a sense of similarity when actually we don't experience the sense of similarity about the clay. We are only experiencing the sense of sameness. It is the same clay which I saw before the pot was made. And it is the same clay which was used to make a clay ball. And it is the same clay that exists in the pot. And it is the same clay that exists even beyond the pot. It is the same. That is called Pratyabhijna. I want you to understand the glorious nature of this Pratyabhijna. Minus that Pratyabhijna, what can we analyze? What can we analyze? I am the same. I was young before, now I am old. But it is the same me. Minus that Pratyabhijna, how can you conduct yourself? Actually, when we say he has lost memory, meaning he has lost Pratyabhijna. When you lose Pratyabhijna, then you can't do anything. Even though truth does not depend upon Pratyabhijna, the existence of truth does not depend upon Pratyabhijna, but understanding it depends upon Pratyabhijna. Existence of truth does not depend upon Pratyabhijna. Pratyabhijna presupposes the truth. Pratyabhijna presupposes the existence of truth. Whereas the existence of truth does not presuppose the pratyabhijna, but yet to understand it you require pratyabhijna. Is it an ordinary pratyabhijna that I am the same, the dreamer is me, the I who dreamt alone is awake, the I who is, just listen to this, the I who is suffering, the I who am suffering from so many things in the waking state, the same I was totally free from all the suffering in deep sleep. Freedom from suffering cannot be doubted. That there was no suffering in deep sleep state cannot be doubted. It is an experience. You are only pratyabhijna. You are remembering, we are recapitulating. The I who am suffering now, the I who is suffering now was free from suffering. Without this pratyabhijna, how do you determine the nature of the truth? Nar pratyabhijna. For pratyabhijna, you don't require adhikaritvam. Because pratyabhijna is universal. Even a murkha has pratyabhijna. Yeah. Supposing for pratyabhijna you require adhikaritvam, Ramachandra, gone. That means the sole precondition for understanding the truth is already there with the truth, is already with the jiva. Shabda comes only points out. Hey, it is there right with you. The basis for understanding the truth is right there with you. बहुत बड़ी बात है. Not only the light is there with you, even the light that lights up the light is already there with you. Meaning, the faculty of understanding, not only the truth is there, but you are endowed with the pratyabhijna that can help you understand the truth, is also with you already. Therefore, adhikaritvam does not bring in pratyabhijna, because even before you come to Vedanta, everybody has pratyabhijna. The I who dreamt alone is awake, the I who slept is awake. Yoham suptaha soham jagarmi. Yoham suptaha soham jagarmi. Jo soya tha wahi jagta hu. This pratyabhijna, every living being has. Some can articulate, some can't articulate, some give time to that, some don't give time, but everybody has it. Then what is adhikaritvam? Adhikaritvam is nothing but the mental purity, peace, etc., which make you receptive to Shabda Pramana, which comes and points out the pratyabhijna. और क्या है जी अधिकारित्व? Adhikaritvam is not something established by voting. When you are receptive, you are adhikar. Therefore, don't unnecessarily waste time thinking about your adhikaritvam. Start listening to the Shruti. 1 बजे को start eating food. Don't decide should I eat or not. लंच का टाइम खत्म हो जाएंगे. Don't debate at lunch time. Eat. Similarly, in life also, am I qualified? Am I not qualified? Am I fit? Am I not fit? Don't unnecessarily be judgmental about your capacity to understand. Start listening, you will understand, because not only the truth is right intimate, even what you require, the soul light that helps you understand the truth in the form of pratyabhijna, also you have. Everything is there, Ji. It needs to be looked at. And a person doesn't look at it because he's all the time looking at the object. He thinks he can solve his problem by the world. And when he burns all his 10 plus 10 fingers and toes, then he will listen to me. No, what I want to say is, don't make adhikaritvam an issue, please. It becomes a conflict. I'm a woman, am I qualified? I'm young, am I qualified? I'm too old, am I qualified? Don't think because this adhikaritvam is nothing before the fact that the one is the sole prerequisite for understanding the truth is right there. I'm telling you, very important. The sole prerequisite for understanding the truth is right there, called the pratyabhijna. Why should one unnecessarily worry about this? Okay, ji, next one. Thus, when the continuity of the clay is a matter of direct perception, sir, hey Punyavadi, don't go after inference. And when you try to use inference when it is not required, you will make a wrong inference. And the word for wrong inference is called Anumana Abhas. Nacha, next line, ji. Let us do. Nacha nor pratyaksha anumanayoho, between pratyaksha and anumana. This is another great point that is coming. To be relishable, ji. These are all very, very beautiful things. Bhashyakara says pratyaksha anumanayoho, between perception and inference. Viruddha avyabhicharita. Na viruddha avyabhicharita. You can divide it like this. Viruddha avyabhicharita. That is how it should be divided. Viruddha avyabhicharita. And na. In fact, perception and inference agreeing with each other is not a contradiction, but disagreeing with each other is a contradiction. They can't disagree with each other. If the inference is based on perception, and if the perception itself can lead to inference when it is required, how can there be a virodha between pratyaksha and anumana? A very important, beautiful, it's a breakthrough point. Between pratyaksha and anumana there can't be any virodha, because anumana is based on pratyaksha. When anumana is based on pratyaksha, how can there be a virodha between pratyaksha and anumana? If the curd is born of milk, how can there be a virodha between the two? So if the pratyaksha says that we have that the clay is the same, when the pratyaksha is telling us that the clay is the same before the pot, during the pot and after the pot, how can you make an inference? It is not the same, but it is similar. Pratyaksha is saying it is the same, and the inference is saying according to you is similar. And that means between pratyaksha and anumana you are creating a virodha. And where there is virodha between pratyaksha and anumana, there is something wrong with the analyzer. And therefore, please don't think that every moment clay is something different and but similar. No, it is the same. Nacha pratyaksha anumanayoho viruddha avyabhicharita. Why do you say there should be no virodha between pratyaksha and anumana? Because Bhashyakara says his brilliance is brilliant. Pratyaksha purvakatvad anumanasya. Because pratyaksha is based on, anumana is based on pratyaksha. When Anumana is based on Pratyaksha, there should not be any virodha between the two. There should not be any virodha. There should not be disagreement. Pratyaksha is saying it is the same clay and you are making an inference. It is not the same clay but it is similar clay. Pratyaksha purvakatvat anumanasya. And if there is really a virodha, disagreement between Pratyaksha and Anumana, sarvatraiva anashvasa prasangat, man would lose trust in both. We cannot live if the Pratyaksha and Anumana can contradict. I cannot use Pratyaksha to use logic. And if there is a disagreement between Pratyaksha and Anumana, I get into a conflict. Which should I accept? Pratyaksha or Anumana? But between Pratyaksha and Anumana, there is no disagreement at all. Swamiji, Pratyaksha says, there is no, Pratyaksha says there is no God, but logic says there is God. Logic doesn't say there is God. Shabda Pramana says there is God. When it comes to Pratyaksha and logic, they go together. Nor can Pratyaksha ever say there is no God. Pratyaksha only says there are 5 elements. Presence of the 5 elements is the topic of Pratyaksha, not absence of God. It is another headache. Absence of God is not the topic of Pratyaksha. Eyes can't tell there is no sound. Eyes can pertain to presence of form, not absence of sound. समझ में आ गया? समझ में आ गया तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. Eyes pertain to the presence of the form, not to the absence of sound. Pratyaksha pertains to the presence of the 5 elements, not to the absence of the source, the Bhagavan. In fact, Bhagavan is not the topic of either Pratyaksha or Anumana. Pratyaksha deals with the objects, Anumana also deals with the objects. And if about the objects, if they have got Pratyaksha says something and Anumana says something else about the very objects, then I am in a conflict which to accept. Our Vyavahara comes to an end. It is called Sarvatra Anashvasa Prasangat. Anashvasa means Vishwas khatam ho jayenge. We can lose the trust in our own perception and logic. And once you lose trust in your own sense perception and logic, then you can't live. You go back to your house, then you don't trust your eyes. Because even though you go back to your house, you say, is it my house? You don't trust. It's a बहुत बड़ी बात है जी. So much depth going into all these various nuances of unfoldment. If somebody does it at the age of 20s, 30s, something like that, whatever be his age, that is immaterial, but so much time कहाँ है? आराम से बैठ के सारी लिखना मतलब है something some विशिष्टत्वम होता है. प्रत्यक्ष पूर्वकत्वात् अनुमानस्य सर्वत्रैव अनाश्वास प्रसंगात्. Now I am just up to this recapitulate. Sir, the clay in the pot is not every moment new, it is the same. That is what the perception tells. And don't really ignore the perception and indulge in anumana when it is not required. And also there can't be any disagreement between pratyaksha and anumana. Yadi cha in case next sentence. Kshanikam sarvam. According to the Shunyavadi, everything is momentary. Even Vedanta says everything is momentary, but when we say, we mean slightly different. Meaning every time it is changing. Your pleasures are momentary, they come and go. That is a different matter. We say pleasures are momentary. Sense pleasures are momentary. Momentary means they appear and disappear. But we don't say the objects are momentary. We don't say objects are momentary. We say objects and the sense contact with the objects bring about pleasures, and those pleasures are momentary. But when Shunyavadi says momentary, he doesn't talk about the pleasures as momentary. He says every object is momentary, means every time it disappears, next minute it is something else, it is something else, it is something else. It doesn't mean change. It's a new thing. It's not the same thing with the change. When we say they are different, every moment they are different, when we say, we mean only it is the same thing with a change. But when they say it is a different thing every second, it doesn't mean that it is the same thing with a change. They don't accept change. It is totally a new thing. An object just appears and disappears, and then in its place there is a new similar thing. It is amazing, isn't it? Something, how this, they strained their brains too much, the Buddhists. I'm telling you, this is what personally I feel. How to? They just came up with a strange idea called similarity to refute the sense of sameness. Once that same sense of sameness is refuted, your entire Vedic culture is gone. Pratyabhijna is gone. मन को लड़ा के, दिमाग को लड़ा के, it was very difficult for anybody to come up with an idea that would refute the universal Pratyabhijna. But still, they could not go totally against it. Instead of calling it the sameness, they called it similarity. Many great scholars, the Buddhistic scholars, their motive was not to find the truth. Their motive was to refute Vedic thinking. It's again an emotional ragadvesha problem, not the result of jnana. A lot of schools which are propounded as anti-something. In fact, all the darshanas, Vaiseshika, a lot of them have. There is an effort to refute what Vedanta says, because somehow, I'll tell you the secret, it is irritating to human mind to be told that independent of Shabda Pramanam, he cannot know the truth. It is very irritating to an individual. It pricks his ego. When I can know everything, I can know the truth also. Why somebody should come and tell me I can know everything but not the truth, for which only Veda is the Pramanam, Shabda is the Pramanam. It is irritating. Yes. In Swamiji's course in Bombay, when Swamiji was teaching in Bombay, on this count, a lot of students got up and went away. They left the ashram. We can't accept that we can't know the truth independent of Vedanta. So many people came to know the truth without any Vedanta. Emotional problem. Again. I say, don't worry, that is not the way of thinking that so many people came to know. You cannot even, for certain, you can't say that many people came to know the truth independently, because they must have known something, not the truth. First of all, before you decide whether many people came to know or not, first of all, you find out whether it can be known at all. If you can know without the Shabda Pramana, then it proves that many people must have known. Whether can the truth be understood independent of Shabda Pramanam? Just find out. And when it is emphasized that even though man is the truth and he has not only the light, but he also lives with the light that can throw the light on the light, called the Pratyabhijna. But yet it is never looked at. Vedanta comes and draws his attention. That's all. That's all the glory of Shabda Pramana. Not only it draws its attention, it explains away everything. It has a vision of the truth and that it conveys. And therefore, when the students are told that without the Shabda Pramana, it cannot be understood, some of the students got so irritated. They got so irritated. They said, what is this? We are all greatly educated people. Why can't we know? We can know the truth. What is there? If truth is intimate, we can know it. We want to know that the truth is intimate. Who told you? Not Pratyaksha, not Anumana. Again, it is the Shastra. And the thoughts of Shastra are there in the air, and you pick up those thoughts, and the roots are in the Shastra. Even the word Maya, even though it is there floating in the air, but the roots are the Shastra. Even those Babas who talk about the truth independent of Shastra, they must have plucked a few thoughts from here and there from the air, and their roots are the Shastra. Air is not the Pramanam, Shastra. These Vakyas' roots are not in the air. The Vakyas' roots are in the Shastra. That is why Buddhists also got irritated. We say, Shabda is the Pramana. The authority of the Brahmanas, the supremacy of the Brahmanas, to destroy their supremacy, you have to destroy the supremacy of Veda. Once you destroy the supremacy of Veda, you destroy the supremacy of Brahmanas, and you can rule. Then you can convert everybody into something else. These are all personal problems. I am telling, a lot of philosophies are born of personal raga dvesha. So kuch nahi. For me it is nothing. हमारे लिए कुछ भी नहीं है. हमारे लिए कुछ भी नहीं है. You buy a toffee, I'll give an example. You buy a toffee and take the wrap out. Take the toffee. What do you do with that wrap? वो बाजू में बास्केट है ना, उसमें डालते हैं. I say most of the schools deserve to be put in the basket. How? Yes. Now, see, and therefore, yadicha, if kshanikam sarvam, sir, if everything were momentary, according to, if every object were momentary, tadeva idamiti, this pratyabhijna, that the same thing it is. This is the same as that. Tad etat. Tadeva idam. Wahi yaha hai. This is called the sense of sameness. I want you to follow this phrase. वही है ये टेबल है ना, वही है जो कल का था ये टेबल, वही ये टेबल है. So when we look around the objects, when you wake up in the morning and look at your house, you get the idea it is the same house. Whatever house I saw before I fell asleep, it is the same house. And in the evening you look at it, it is the same house. It is the same people. It is the same objects. It is the same tree. It is the same me. It is the same body. In fact, the whole creation, when I perceive it, I carry the sense of sameness. It is a sense of sameness. It is the same world. It is the same world. It is the same city. It is the same people. It is the same house. My same hands. Same body. Same children, same. This sameness is expressed by a Sanskrit phrase that is called Tadeva Idam. Wahi yah hai. Tadeva idamiti. Sir, if according to if everything were perishable, everything were momentary, and if everything were momentary, and if everything is something new at every time, then the sameness the sense of sameness would not have been there. If things are new at every second, then the sense of sameness would not have been there. The sense of similarity would have been there. This table is not the same as yesterday's table. This table is similar to the one yesterday. But when I come to the class and I look at it, I don't automatically get the sense, this looks like yesterday's. Says this is the same. Nor do I see you. Oh, you all look like you are not the same, but you all look similar to the student. Then how do I make you recapitulate what you heard yesterday, Ji? Supposing you are not the same student, you are similar students, then where do we begin? Where do we begin the class? Because we can only begin where we ended yesterday. That is why when somebody by jid wants to refute the truth, he becomes a joker. Understand? He becomes laughable. When a person by jid, a Buddhist by jid wants to somehow or other refute the truth, then what do you become? You become a laughing stock. You become a laughing stock. Band karo ji. You become a laughing stock. You understand, आराम से बाहर जाके बैठ बातचीत करके आ जाए, मे बी सम इमरजेंसी. यदि च क्षणिकं सर्वं तदेव इदमिति गम्यमानम. This universal sense of sameness, tad buddhyerapi anyatad buddhyapekshvatve. If there is a slight unfoldment required here. If you say it is not the sense of sameness, but it is the sense of similarity. Instead of appreciating it is the same as that, it is the same. The present day table, today's table is the same as yesterday's table. It is the same. If I entertain the sense that it is like the one yesterday, that means that it is like the one before presupposes that it is the same. Because the perception is saying what? It is the same. And what are you inferring? Similar. That means to infer the similarity, you must have the sameness. That means you are... If the thought of similarity depends upon the thought of sameness, then the fundamental thought, that sense of sameness, is more valid than the sense of similarity. Number one. And what depends is the sense of similarity, and what lends existence, the basis, is the sense of sameness. And that sense of similarity, if you infer the sense of similarity, that sense of similarity can lead to another sense of similarity. Because this second it is like previous second, and later on, even that sense that it is similar will be kshanikam. Dekho ji, if the sense of sameness, if it is kshanikam, if the object is kshanikam, then the sense of similarity also would be kshanikam. Then how would you appreciate it? Then it would be similar to that similar. Are you able to follow? The sense of similarity would be kshanikam. And the sense of similarity would be momentary, and it would lead to another sense of similarity. Means what? It is similar to the similar. And the third will be another thought. It is similar to the similar to the similar. In this manner, you cannot even confirm that it is similar, because even the thought that it is similar is moment. You can't establish. That is the thing. In order to establish the sense of similarity also, the sense of similarity should abide. According to you, if everything is momentary, then the sense of similarity is also momentary, then what can you establish? You can't establish the sense of similarity. Therefore, you can't really say sense of similarity is the basis for shunyatvam, because sense of similarity also is momentary. Oh, that will lead to another sense of similarity. That way it will become anavastha. It is illogical. First sense of similarity leads to the second sense of similarity, that will lead to the third, that will lead to the fourth, that will lead to the fifth. In this manner it will be regress ad infinitum, which means whenever you precipitate an anavastha dosha, it is a flaw in your thinking. This much you understand. You can't establish the sense of similarity also, because according to you everything is momentary. That's enough for you. Tad buddherapi anya tad buddhyapekshvatve tasyaha api anya tad buddhyapekshvatvam anavasthayam. In this manner there would be anavastha, regress ad infinity. What the perception tells is the sense of sameness, and that you don't accept, then you replace it with a sense of similarity. But the sense of similarity would be momentary and leading to another sense of similarity, which would be again momentary. That will lead to another sense of similarity, which would be again momentary. In this manner it will be anavastha, regress ad infinitum. That means you can't establish the sense of similarity. You can't establish it. That this is the fundamental sense of similarity. Avasthayam tat sadrishyamidamityasyaha api. Even the sense of similarity. Buddhehe, this sense of similarity. Mrishatvat, being false, being momentary. Sarvatra anashvasata eva. Again, man would lose trust in perception and inference. It's very, very beautiful, ji. I know I need to talk about it. Don't lose patience. Hey Purupakshi, perception is telling us it is the sense of sameness. On the basis of the sense of sameness, the Vyavahara continues. We are all able to live our life, we are all able to conduct ourselves, we are all able to do Vyavahara because of the sense of sameness about things. If it is not the sense of sameness, at least if it is the sense of similarity establishable, we can still somehow or other manage to do Vyavahara. But every moment, even that sense of similarity is momentary. How can I really live with people? It is not the same people but similar people. It is not the same people but similar people. Every moment it is new. If that is the thing, then one would lose trust in perception and inference. Just as if there is a virodha between pratyaksha and anumana, man would lose trust in both. In the same manner, if there were no pratyabhijna, man would lose trust, I am telling you. Why the society is there? Life is possible only because of pratyabhijna, sense of sameness. We come every day to Ramana Kendra, the same Ramana Kendra. Why? Because sense of same. You go to dream and wake up, you don't feel, oh, I have lost myself. I am there. I am a new person. Poetically you may say, now that I have woken up a new person. It is a figurative new person, not a literal new person. Therefore, please, two things destroy the trust. Virodha between pratyaksha and anumana and the negation of pratyabhijna. We can't conduct ourselves. Not only we can't live, we can't know the truth. Pratyabhijna about the objects facilitates Vyavahara. Pratyabhijna about myself as a jiva facilitates Vyavahara. Pratyabhijna about the created details facilitates Vyavahara. Pratyabhijna about the subject facilitates understanding the truth. It is the pratyabhijna I would call the light that throws light on the light. And this pratyabhijna that throws light on the light. Vedanta doesn't create pratyabhijna, Vedanta only points out pratyabhijna. Vedanta points out the pratyabhijna. And through the available pratyabhijna, Vedanta corrects some very serious errors about oneself. Therefore, thus we are through with this thought. And therefore, buddhehe mrishatvat sarvatra anashvasata eva. Just one more sentence, we will complete the paragraph. Tadidam buddhyorapi kartru abhave sambandha anupattehe. And not only that, not only there is pratyabhijna about the objects and pratyabhijna about the subject, but without the subject being there, there would be no sense of continuity. This very sense can't exist without the subject, conscious subject. The object doesn't entertain the sense of its own continuity. It is the observer of the object, it is the subject which entertains the sense of continuity about the object. Therefore, the pratyabhijna can't exist without the subject. Whereas Buddhism doesn't believe in the subject. Now my question is whether it is the pratyabhijna about the pratyabhijna that it is the same, or it is pratyabhijna that it is similar. Any kind of pratyabhijna presupposes the existence of the subject, which subject the Buddhism doesn't accept. So how can you explain away the pratyabhijna? How is pratyabhijna possible without the subject? Because you are also using the word buddhi. Buddhi means the sense. Now the sense can't exist really in the very objects. The sense is a conscious thing. Now if you say the sense also is momentary, then even to appreciate the momentariness of the sense, there should be someone continuing. What about that? That is why I told, I think that works. We'll do it next class. When you try to take a stand against truth by jid, you become a laughing stock. You become a joker. I'm telling you. But the jokers in Kali Yuga flourish much better. The serious thinkers have no place. The jokers have lot of following. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om ji. So they want me to leave by November, December. So we are looking for a place